So, hello everybody. My name is Adrian Mach. I'm going to try to have this presentation in English. So, I'm a senior 3D artist at Sony Mobile. And let's see. Just recently, our division here in Lund, we changed our employment from Sony Mobile to something called Sony Studio Nordic. So that's why you're going to see the Studio Nordic name in the slides instead of Sony Mobile. But we still do the same kind of work. It's visualization for the mobile sector within Sony. Okay, yeah. So I'm going to try to describe today our team and the kind of work we do, why we do it, how we do it, and where we are located. So let's go to this slide. We are in the Sony group. Sony was founded in 1946, but these two gentlemen. And apparently this is an epic picture within the Sony company, especially in Tokyo, I've been told. So I thought I would share it with you. I'm not quite sure why. I have my speculations, since I have a view about how the company structure and hierarchy is very strong in Japan. And this is an old picture outside of that strict image that I have how business is run in Japan. So, but this is my only speculation. So, Sony is a big company. We are under the section called Sony Creative Center and the Design Center Tokyo. The headquarters for Sony and the Design Center for Sony is located in Tokyo, Japan. And we are under the division in Europe, and then we are located in Lund. And this is due to the history we had with the previous company, Sony Ericsson, as you all probably know about. So the design center is where all the industrial design is made, of course, and this is most of the stuff that Sony produces. It's within audio and cameras, video, television, of course. We're missing PlayStation, but they don't change that often as mobile phones. So let's see. My team, we support only the mobile phones, so yet we have not been directly involved in any of the other projects, except for some headphones, of course, and different accessories that you can combine with a mobile phone. And here is a little slide about our team in Lund. So we are 9 people working with visualization, and we are covering about 80 to 90% of all the material produced from the mobile sector, and that is from for the high-end marketing part. And we have one CAD engineer that helps us to prepare CAD data that we get. So it's prepared accordingly to our needs for visualization. And we are in an internal studio, so we have several advantages by being internal. Mostly that we can work close with the designers. Sony has a ambition to keep a certain look on the images, so you could kind of recognize them. And for that we need to be keep consistency. So when we put different images together, for example, they look like they are from the same family. All right. So our main daily overall concern is to achieve that consistency, and we are exposed to very fast and regular CAD data changes, because in the early stage the designers are trying different tracks, so there's a lot of different data going on, and there are changes within a week, so we have to update all the images. And this is, of course, for internal usage at that stage. And also we have the challenge of trying to get the data of the actual materials that they want to use, because we simply don't have samples, only a description. This is something that the previous speaker was mentioned, and that is our main focus, and constantly we're trying to find ways to work more efficient, and we have identified many of the tasks that are done over and over again, and try to make scripts for them so they run automatically, and reuse as much as possible of the things that we do. And the next slide, I think, gonna explain a little more clearly. So this is a short overview of our pipeline. We have CAD coming into us, we prepare it, then we send it to Maya to make it suitable for Maya mesh polygons. And then we do the shading, of course. And then what we deliver after that to our pipe is a master reference file that is used throughout the project. And in a little bit more detail, this is how it looks. We have CAD data, and then we have our CAD engineer that prepares that data and tessellate it accordingly to the standards that we need. We use the JT format data for that we import in Maya. And when we import it in Maya, it's a simple, this is part of the automation. We only press a button and the script runs. It imports the mesh, does a lot of things with it, and saves it out as a model, like a Maya file. And then in the next stage, the Maya model, we import that CAD, or that Maya file that is. And here is where we have a manual work. We have to sort the different pieces, give it ID, but we don't simply have an ID number or random numbers. We actually sort it out into names that make sense, so we can recognize them. And that is because that name convention is followed all through the pipe after that, to shaders and to compositing. For example, in Nuke, we have all the RGB channels generated automatically in Maya, and with the right name convention, so it's easy to make adjustments and not having to look for different parts. They're clear named. All right, so we have the CAD, we prepare it, we clean it up, and then we take it into the next stage, that is a Maya shading scene. And in that stage, that's the first step when we use the reference technique in Maya instead of importing CAD data. And that's where we assign the different shaders and materials and make color variants. Mostly a device has at least 2 colors, black or white, often 3 and 4. So we do all the different shading tracks, color variations, and that's also a manual work. But after that, we have a a script that takes care of the name convention, so everything gets saved as a new reference with a material library and named properly for different tracks. And after that, the green dots are the production scenes in Maya for the different purposes. For example, if we want to make a spin, which we often do, a 360 spin of an object, we use that Maya that is prepared and a shelf with the right scripts, so we never have to set up the device manually. What happens is that the device gets imported, it gets assigned and constrained to animations, and there's a lighting scene, of course. And when we press render, so we press import, save scene, render, and then we have an outcome that is like 80% correct. We only have to adjust those 20% to make it look really good. It's moving lights to hit the highlights on the right stuff, right corners and stuff like that. And this goes for every still images too, because the request is that the 12 first images that we produce are always the same. It's front, back, side, like the characteristics for the phone. And that's also manually set up, animated, and the camera is on the same distance always. So it's a very easy, in that way to very easy and fast get output that looks properly. And of course, when we create the videos that we do, they are very individual, and so we have to do the position of cameras and camera animation, lighting, totally manually. We do pre-sell in assets. So at this stage, prototypes are not available, and mock-ups are hard to get in time sometimes. And the purpose for this pre-selling is to make material, marketing material, that is used to sell in the product to operators in like Tele2 or 3 or in Sweden or Orange in France, for example. And this is before the product is announced, and it's confidential. And here we also do kind of quick and dirty. We don't put attention to get the highlights on every corner perfect. It's more fast and relaxed manner of making images. And the same goes for other assets. Oh, sorry. Some more example of those pre-selling images. Now and then they want to emphasize a new technology. For example, here was something with a new technology for the screens. So we are making some situation we enhance exactly that technology. And some mood images. Now and then we do some retouch too, just to enhance the mood. So this is to fit the designer's intention and the overall presentation for the client. And finally, we do the marketing images. And those are high-res and very specifically designed when it comes to lighting. It's a distinct, iconic style that Sony wants to keep on the images, and we make a big effort to get every highlight, and the material should look very clean, not used. We don't use scratches to make it more real life like. It's very clinic and iconic. And those images are produced in 7K for printing and for exhibitions, for example. And here we can see, for example, it's a lot of different images, but there still is a consistency in how they are presented. They are not totally, how do I say, not belonging together, even though it's different product and different backgrounds. And those assets or images are also used on the websites, on digital marketing, like our homepage and the YouTube channel and so on. And here's an example of two different projects. They're all several months apart. But when you put those images together, if you want to combine them for a campaign, for example, when we put them together, the main thing is that they belong together. It could be the same lighting, even though it's not the same scene. Here's another example of that. Here's only the color variation, so it's no big deal. Here are the back sides of the same. But here is another good example of the importance of keeping the consistency and the iconic kind of look that Sony Mobile is after. So this is probably 1 year apart from the latest, the newest image here, and they still look like they could be made in one shot almost. I mean, the same lighting conditions. We can see that we do sometimes try new tracks. For example, for the highlights on the screen, they are very soft to begin with, not that strong, and then you can see that they're positioned differently. But other than that, it's kind of important that they look the same. So let's see. And here is the 360 spin that we always do. And this I find kind of interesting because it looks so simple. When I look at those spins, it's like, yeah, what's the big deal? But getting a flat surface that is reflective like the screen and sometimes a mirror on the backside and have it spinning around, it takes actually quite a lot of time to develop the technique or the scene that we have built to not have a reflection that flicker, because every slightly angle you move an object that is reflective, of course you're going to have different reflections. All right. We also do something that is called feature images for marketing. These images are more relaxed. They are not as strictly iconic, and we have often background. The other images I didn't mention, but they are always with alpha or transparency pages. And here we try to catch a mood. So it can be a dark background, white background, and we add camera effects like depth of field, for example, that we don't use on the other ones. All right, and here you can see, for example, in this corner, the chrome corner, it's kind of messy. If you compare with the iconic look, it would never go through in the other production. So it's a little bit more relaxed. Just some more images. A mirror in a white studio environment. That was very challenging actually, because there was no natural source to reflect that wouldn't look strange, like a window or a chair. Would look awkward, so the obvious and good idea that worked here was to reflect them in each other. Some more images. So it's mostly phones, but now and then we have the opportunity to do something different. Can you guys tell what this is, by the way? Kind of product? It's an earpiece. So it's a headphone with Bluetooth. It's kind of hard to tell on this angle. And as I mentioned before, we did a lot of packaging before, but we do not anymore. Yet another mood image. And then we also do marketing product videos, and those are product beauty videos, we call them. It's totally CG. We don't do any live action or live footage integration except for the stills now and then. And the challenge with the videos is how to shoot the product, because the product is, even though it's a new model, it's the same product. We have a screen, we have a backside with a camera, and some buttons on the side. So there's only so many ways that you can show this product. And the mood, intention, we would like to capture in a nice way, but then again, the description is to have a clean, sterile video in a studio environment. We also, when we deliver the movies, we also deliver them as stills, sequences. So the marketing have access to choose any image from the movie in good quality, not compressed. And here are some images from the movies. Or videos, I should say. Those two water images here, by the way, are not CG. That's the only ones that made their way in here without being CG. This one is. So these are all stills from videos. And this slide maybe doesn't make so much sense because I should actually have the storyboard, but this is to show our client and the one that is ordering the movie, the video, how we reproduce the storyboard coming alive. So for every frame that was represented in the storyboard, here we have taken a snapshot, and it matches. It's quite perfect actually. And here are just some more images. One thing that we also have a battle with, in one way with the designer, is the structure and texture on the materials, because they want to keep it clean and clinically clean with no scratches, and it really doesn't make them feel that real. So there's a balance that we have to make, and also when we're very close to the product, especially when it comes to sandblast metals and other materials that have a rough structure, they look quite awful actually if you look at them in the USB microscope, as we do sometimes, or with a macro lens on the camera. So even though they look different in they would look different in those kind of close-up. This is not the intention from the designer or the marketing people, because they want to represent the material how we perceive it when you hold the phone in the hand, no matter how rough the structure is, close distance. We try to rough it up a little bit, but there's not much that we can do. And finally, what we also do are these end frames, and those are used for live action commercials. At the end, usually there's a sign-off with the product coming in, like a pack shot, a very short animation. All right. So now I'm going to show you just a short video that is clips from different productions we made. Is there sound? Yeah. Ah, okay, sorry. Great. All right, I think I had the last slide just. Let me go back to the presentation. So, yeah, we are trying to automate as much as possible, and we have reached quite far actually, I must say. For the standard images, I think about 60% is automated so far. So our challenges in the future is to continue, find new ways to automate stuff that sometimes, in my opinion anyway, I thought no way we can automatize that. But we have found ways to do things that I didn't believe in. And then we have the different renderings techniques. We are today using the CPU. And when it comes to the materials, find a better and more efficient way to get them to Lund from Tokyo in time, and to just have them overall. And water simulation is also something that we were strongly looking into before, and we achieved quite okay level. We used Houdini for those water simulations. But now the direction is to not use as much water in the commercials, or they don't want to show as much water association, so maybe that's on the hold for now. All right, that's it, thank you.